All right, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? How is it going? I am Is There No One Else, and I am bringing you my updated Stamina Nightblade build / guide for the Harrowstorm DLC. Now, as is always the case with these guys, I'm going to try and explain what this build is, what it's best for, what it does, alternatives, what not to do with it, all those other sorts of things. So this video is going to be a little bit longer than most of the videos I post on my channel because I want to get all that information out. There will be no gameplay in this specific video. I do have some gameplay of BGs with this specific build coming out in the next couple days, so I'll just provide a link in the description to this build in action, so you guys can see it in no CP. Currently, as you guys know, open world is very laggy, and I'm just not engaging in open world PvP right now. But I know that this is going to be very effective due to what I've run in the past, other sets that I've run in the past, recovery that I've run, and all those other sorts of things. So this is what I'm rolling with for the Harrowstorm DLC, and yeah, with that being said, let's dive into it. As far as... we'll ignore all this because I'm on the wrong thing, but as far as consumables go, we are running Lava Foot, Soup, and Saltreese, and we are running tripods. Tripods are just really good for a Nightblade. We have a lot of magical utility skills, so it really comes in handy. I'm not saying anything that you don't already know. Lava Foot, Soup, and Saltreese, max stamina recovery. This min-maxes the max stamina we can get as well as recovery. Puts our sustain in a pretty good spot so we can just stack weapon damage. This is a medium armor build, so we're going to try and stack weapon damage because the medium armor passives scale very well with high weapon damage. And this is going to be how we get our sustain. So as far as the gear sets, this is a carryover from last patch. We are wearing New Moon Acolyte on the front bar. So we have 3 jewelry, all infused with weapon damage, and I have Nirnhoned with a poison damage maul. Now the reason I went Nirnhoned with this specific build is because Nirnhoned gives you increase the damage of the weapon, which increases your healing. And so it's going to make my rally heal a little bit bigger. Sharpened will give you more damage. So it's up to you. If you want a little bit more damage, go Sharpened. If you want a little bit extra healing, go Nirn. I don't think you can go wrong either way. New Moon Acolyte's crafted set. It's super easy to acquire. It's one of the best Stamina Nightblade sets you can get. Weapon critical, weapon damage, physical pen, and 464 weapon damage. And it's at the cost of increasing your damage. Increasing the cost of your active abilities by 5%. So it's a very, very good set. It works very well with a Nightblade. Nightblades, they're not going to utilize sets where you take damage and all these other sorts of things. You want that on-demand damage when you can get it. And that's what I really value the most. New Moon Acolyte's very, very good for that. Back bar, I'm running Potentates with a weapon and spell damage enchant. Now you can run Master's Bow, and I will go into a discussion on the merits of Master's Bow versus Potentates. There are many for both. So if you have a Master's Bow and you want to run that, that's fine. If you don't have a Master's Bow, you can run Potentates and it'll be just fine. This is my 620 CP PC account, and so I'm also going to talk about the difference between lower CP and higher CP and what you can do to adjust this specific build to succeed. So like I said, this is going to be very all-inclusive. So I am running the Potentates Bow because I do not have the Master's Bow. Currently, as a Stam Nightblade, I'm running Potentates Bow anyways. I have 4 Master's Bows on my Xbox account. I'm still running Potentate's Bow and a Nightblade, and I have a pretty good reason for why. Like I said, I'll explain it in a minute, but either one works. 2-piece Bloodspawn. Bloodspawn, there's nothing really to say about Bloodspawn. It's one of the best monster sets in the game. It's fantastic. A lot of players really enjoy it because it's not only is it good in what it provides, but it doesn't do things for you. It doesn't heal for you. It doesn't do damage for you. It doesn't, it doesn't keep you alive for no freaking reason. Like, you still have to react. You still have to do these things. So a lot of people like it for that reason. On top of that, an ulti-gen set is just fantastic for 1vx because generating ultimate faster means you're going to get to your ultimate faster and you're going to kill people faster. And so it has a little bit of everything. I've seen the discussion that Bloodspawn is overpowered, and no, it's not. More sets need to be like Bloodspawn. There's a lot of monster sets that are stronger than Bloodspawn that I don't wear because I don't like cheesing people. I don't like what it does. I don't like playing that way. I like to secure my own kills, and Bloodspawn allows me to do that. If there were more sets like this that would just give you like resistances or increase critical damage or increase weapon damage, you would see people running other things, in my opinion. But Yeah, Bloodspawn's great. I do ideally want to get Balorg, but I do not have a Balorg shoulder on PC. Go back and forth between the two. You know, it's your personal preference. If you're running the Potentate's bow, I think Balorg is awesome. I do not have a Balorg shoulder yet, so I can't run it, so I'm wearing Bloodspawn because I do have it. So it's as simple as that. I'm wearing all Impen, and then the other set is 5-piece Titanborn. This is the new set that you get in Ice Reach, which is new, part of the Harrowstorm DLC. As you guys know, last patch I was running Shacklebreaker. I was running Shieldbreaker, and that was for good reason. Shieldbreaker was a great set that modified my damage very high with New Moon Acolyte, and because I was running Onslaught, because Incapacitating Strike was not incapacitating, and I wanted an ultimate that did damage, Shieldbreaker was great for that. Now, Shieldbreaker is still not a bad option. You're still going to crack people. You're still going to hit very hard. It gives you a little bit of recovery. It's nice. I just think Titanborn's a little bit better. I think Titanborn's a little bit better than Shieldbreaker. That's why I took it off. Shieldbreaker is a nice set. Titanborn's better, and I'll explain why. So, if we look at the set, hold on one second. Here we go. If we compare these sets, and I did this on another video when I ran Titanborn, but I'll do it again because a lot of people get confused about why I'm running this set instead of Spriggans. But yeah, this is going to be the long-winded point. Spriggans is max stam, weapon damage, and 3329 physical pen. Titanborn is physical pen, weapon damage, max stam, and then at 100% health, it's 106 weapon damage and 1196 physical penetration. So when you're at 100% health, anywhere from 100% to 76%, you have 2630 physical pen, counting the 5-piece and the 2-piece. You have 124 weapon damage, you have 1058 stamina, and you have 106 weapon damage. So the 106 weapon damage and the 1058 stamina are roughly the same thing. The weapon damage is going to give you a little bit more, especially with continuous attack and all those other sorts of modifiers. But essentially the difference between Spriggans and Titanborn at 100% health is about 700 pen. Roughly 700 pen. 660 pen is a 1% boost to your overall damage, so it's roughly a 1% difference at 100% health between these two sets, which, you know, there is a difference. Spriggans is going to hit harder at 100% health. However, nothing's always perfect. You know, we also have other modifiers for Titanborn. When you get to 75% health, you gain 212 weapon damage and 2400 physical pen. When you get below 50% health, you gain 424 weapon damage and 5k physical pen. So when I first looked at this set, I thought it was a goofy, you know, like I said in the past, I thought it was silly. You're never going to reach the 50% modifier. If you're playing well on a stamina class or any class, you're not looking to do damage when you're at below 50% health. You're looking to survive because you're an execute away from respawning back to the keep. So you're not going to really utilize this modifier in an open world outnumbered 1vx situation. However, what this does do is when you drop to lower health, it increases your weapon damage. And as you guys know, increased weapon damage increases your healing. And so when you look at this set, anytime somebody bursts me or drops me to low health, it increased my weapon damage. And so my heals are better, my rally's better, and my vigor is better. And so how I look at this set is it's essentially Spriggans at 100% health, which is already one of the best damage sets in the game. A lot of Nightblade's last patch were running Spriggans and New Moon because it was the best damage combination for Stamblade. This is just essentially that at 100% health. But you're not always at 100% health. You know, sometimes you're fighting 5 people and you go in for your burst combination. Somebody hits you with a frag, you're still on the offensive. And it does happen to where you're at the 75% modifier. And so when this set is almost as good as Spriggans at 100% health, and then it's definitely better than Spriggans, which is one of the best damage sets in the game, at 75% health, which I'm still hitting in an outnumbered 1vx situation. That's what makes Titanborn so good. I'm never going to use the offensive aspect when I'm below 50% health, but I am going to be able to heal better when I drop below 50% health and I pop a Vigor or I pop a Rally. And so in that situation, like I said before on multiple videos and multiple different chat rooms, I'm kind of beating a dead horse right now, but a lot of people don't know. This is essentially Spriggans with better healing. And so that's where it comes in handy. So no, I wouldn't use this set to like build like a high health build so that you can get the modifier at 50% health and then do a shit ton of damage. No, I just run it like a normal 1vx set. You heal up to full. You basically utilize it like you use Spriggans, and you're just going to have better healing. And sometimes you're going to have better burst. So that's how I use it. I think it's great for that reason. And I run all Impen, 5 body, Impen, and then like I said, New Moon Acolyte, all infused with weapon damage and chance on the jewelry. As far as the character sheet goes, guys, this is my 635 CP PC account. Things are going to change based off of what you have, like what CP you have. The lower CP you have, the less max stats you have. If you don't have Undaunted 9, you're going to have less max stats. And for that reason, at lower CP, I changed to Orc. You can see my snaggle teeth, coming through that mask. You can tell I'm an Orc. I'm a big beefy boy. But Orc is valuable for Stam Blade at lower CP because you get a max health bonus, you get a max stamina bonus, and you get weapon damage. And weapon damage and recovery, it's whatever. Like, if you have 300 recovery out of Wood Elf, you could just transition enchants around and you can make it weapon. You can make weapon damage via enchants. Or if you need recovery on an Orc, you can do that via enchants or your Mundus Stone. Like, it doesn't matter a whole lot what your character is. But the reason I went Orc is because I'm sacrificing some recovery on my open world 635 CP build because I need the damage. I want to make sure I have damage to kill people with higher CP. I did a video on it a while back. Roughly 400 CP is like 20% less damage, or more, depending on how much more you have to build into recovery. And so at around 600 CP, it's maybe 10-15% less damage, which is noticeable. It's essentially a rally heal, major brutality. Those differences do matter. And so I'm sacrificing recovery so that I can hit harder and I can actually kill people, And so, in my opinion, at a lower CP character, Orc is better than Wood Elf. Now, when you get to 810 CP and you're maxed out and you have your Undaunted 9 or Undaunted 10 and you have just built-in damage through more max stats and just having, more CP and, more modifiers and the ability to run off balance through the Tactician passive, once you have all those things, then, in my opinion, Wood Elf and Imperial are the two best Stam Blade classes. I think they're both better than Khajiit. That's just my personal opinion. If you like Khajiit, then run Khajiit. Khajiit will work. But I run an Imperial. The Imperial works out really well. But I wanted to explain why I'm an Orc. I have free character race change tokens from like a year and a half ago still. And so when I get to max CP, I'm going to change this to a Wood Elf or an Imperial. But currently, I'm running Orc for that reason. So, like I said, there's not a huge difference between the races for what you want to do, but, lower CP, I do think Orc is very nice. Like, if you're trying to 1vx on a lower CP character, you're sacrificing a lot, and you need to take every advantage you can get to have damage, and that's what I did. And so that's why I'm running it the way I'm running it. I have 42 points in health because I don't have Undaunted 9, I don't have max CP. This puts my health around 25k. I have 22 points in stamina, which puts me at 27k stam. I know it looks super low, but I hit very, very hard. I got clips for you guys. I'm running Serpent Mundus Stone because I'm an Orc. I have 2081 stamina recovery when I pop my rally. I'm at 2281 when I pop my pot. I'm at 2492, just under 2500 recovery. With a continuous, it's like 2700 recovery. It's more than good. And you can see my weapon damage is 5200. With weapon damage enchant on the back bar, it's like 5600. With continuous, it's around 6k. So I have about 6k weapon damage, not counting the pen that I have with this build as well. So we hit very hard. We do a shit ton of damage. And I have 43% crit at base. As far as our skills go, on our front bar, I'm running Executioner. Executioner just scales very, very high. I've hit 20k plus Executioners. It's very nice for Stamina Nightblade for 1vx just to finish kills. Healing is so high. In my opinion, you really just want to finish people off, and for that reason, Executioner is best. You can run Killer's Blade. Killer's Blade gives you a few other modifiers. It's good. It starts scaling at 25%. Executioner starts scaling at 50%. So, in my opinion, Executioner is better for that reason. I'm running Camo Hunter. Camo Hunter, it can be a flex spot. You can run a few other skills here if you want to, I suppose, but I just think Camo Hunter gives too much. It reveals enemies. You get 3% more weapon damage. We're stacking weapon damage with this build. Like I said, we have 6k with continuous attack. This gives us 3%. We also get Major Savagery, and we also get Minor Berserk when we flank an enemy and attack them. And we're already going to be flanking an enemy anyways because we want to reduce their armor with our surprise attack buff. These things coincide very well with the Nightblade playstyle. So I think Camo Hunter is just really, really good. Rally, it's our heal. Relentless Focus is going to be our burst attack. 19k tooltip unbuffed. Very, very hard-hitting skill. Keep in mind I have a ton of pen that you're not seeing, so this actually goes higher. I also have 635 CP, so this will actually be a lot harder. Surprise attack. This is our spammable. It hits hard. It hits hard enough. If you hit somebody from stealth, you will stun them, or it'll set them off balance. It's a very solid spammable. And then as far as the ultimate goes, we are running in cap. Now, I switched to Titanborn because in cap is now better. They changed it to where at 120 more ultimate, in cap now stuns again. Now, it used to only be a silence. Hold on one second. I'm going to take a drink. There we go. In cap used to be just a silence. And so in cap wasn't that great. Honestly, it was pretty bad. You wanted to try and use in cap when you're below 120 ultimate, because once you got to 120 ultimate and you hit a stam class, it was free CC immunity. Now, with the stun, you can now land your Spectral Bow more consistently. It now makes Nightblades a lot better than what they used to be in an outnumbered situation. So this 120 ultimate stun to land Spectral Bow is fantastic. The damage is solid. You do 20% more damage afterwards, but now we have a chance to gain to land our overall burst because of the stun. While slotted, you gain Reeve, which restores 100 magic and stamina when you deal light with a heavy attack on an enemy with a negative effect on them. So it also gives us sustain. We do decent damage. We do 20% more damage. It's a very good ultimate. Now, some people are going to look at this and they're going to go, hey, Else, where's Mass Hysteria? Where's Turn Evil? Why aren't you running a stun? And the thing is as a Stamina Nightblade right now, in my opinion, it is suboptimal to run a stun. It's just not... In an ideal situation, it's just not working very well. Due to cast times on ultimates, due to the travel delay of Spectral Bow, if you try to incorporate a CC into your combination, at least half of your combination is going to get dodged. And I have a lot of footage, and I will try and highlight that when it happens in the footage. But oftentimes I will cloak, and I will come up on somebody, and I will light attack, surprise attack. And because it's an attack from stealth, it stuns them and puts them on the ground. If I have my in cap, I heavy attack, surprise attack, and then I hit my in cap. I have had so many people from this stun and then into the in cap dodge, CC break, and then dodge my in cap because there's just so much of a time delay. And so, in my opinion, if you try to use Turn Evil and you try to use Fear, it's good to get people off of you, but it's not part of your offensive combination. You're not going to use Fear to land burst against most opponents, and that's the shitty part. And so, as a Nightblade currently, you're a little bit handicapped against players that run Sword and Board and can block a little bit, because if they block your incoming stuns and CCs and whatever, you're going to have a hard time stunning them and putting them on the ground. You don't have anything that goes through block, although Nightblade does have a CC that goes through block, and Turn Evil is also one of those things. It's just not good right now. It's not a good combination. And so, although it exists, it's better to run it this way. I find I get more kills this way, and I secure kills better this way than if I slotted Turn Evil. And that's really too bad. It's just too bad that you can't utilize your stun properly. So that's the way it is. We'll make our adjustments. And as far as our back bar goes, you can run a few things here. I run Temporal Guard for the minor protection. I like to be pretty thick on my back bar because I'm going to be dodge rolling a lot. I'm going to be kiting. I want to make sure I'm able to take damage. So I'm running the Potentate's Bow. I got a defending Potentate's Bow. I'm running Relentless Focus, so those stacks can also give me damage mitigation. And then I'm running Bloodspawn, and I also have Undo. So I'm actually relatively pretty tanky. I can absorb quite a few hits when I'm on my bow bar, when I'm dodging around, when I'm trying to kite. So I do it for that reason. You can run Bow Ulti, you can run Soul Siphon, you can run a few things here, but I like Temporal Guard for that reason. Resolving Vigor, this is our heal over time. And the other one that is going to be up for debate. I'm running Reaper's Mark over Poison Injection or Venom Arrow. And it's going to come down to preference. This is going to be one of those preferential things, and I'm going to explain why. So when I compared my specific build, Reaper's Mark versus Master's Bow for damage, poison injection, and then Reaper's Mark, and then I tested on a target dummy. I found that Reaper's Mark was giving me more damage with my specific build. And so because it was giving me, the major fracture was giving me more damage than the 300 weapon damage on the Master's Bow. And so it gives me a little bit more damage. And it's also free. On top of that, it also heals you. When a marked enemy dies, you heal for 12,935, and you gain Major Berserk, increasing your damage done by 25% for 5 seconds. So when you're going in to finish somebody, and they have this mark on them, you don't have to kill them. One person on your team does. If they die with the mark on them, you get a very substantial heal. This is a breath of life, a level heal when that person dies, which comes for free when the person dies. And so it's essentially a free heal. Nightblades are lacking a little bit in the healing department. So for when you're 1vxing and you're rattling off kills, this allows you to sustain a little bit better because, occasionally you just don't have to pop your vigor. You're just at full health, you could just focus. On top of that, you gain Major Berserk, increasing your damage done by 25% for 5 seconds. Now, I'm not going to sell you on the fact that Major Berserk is a great buff and, that's what makes the skill so good. No. Honestly, this buff isn't that great. You're almost never going to hit your full combo with Major Berserk when you're playing solo. But in a duo or trio, if one of your buddies says, hey, I'm going to ulti dump this person or I'm going to kill this person, and you put your mark on them, you get Major Berserk. You get a heal, you get Major Berserk, then your next combination that you hit is going to shred somebody's health bar. And so in a outnumbered 1vx situation, you're not going to realize the full burst potential of a full combination on a Nightblade. But occasionally, you'll nuke somebody with an in-cap, and then you'll have a Spectral Bow, and you'll have Major Berserk, and you're just going to crack them with a 15k plus Spectral Bow because you have Major Berserk. That's what this gives you. And so, long story short, just with Major Fracture, we're getting more damage with my specific build with a Master's Bow than a Master's Bow. And so we get more damage with this on top of all of this utility. And so, yes, utility hinges on whether or not you live or die. I'm not saying it's great. I'm just saying that, when you're measuring things, this is actually a pretty viable option. Now, does that mean that Master's Bow is bad? No. Master's Bow is great because you can run Venom Arrow. Venom Arrow is a ranged interrupt. I don't think dots are very good. I don't think the dot pressure of Venom Arrow or Poison Injection is fantastic. And I would rather optimize burst, and that's why I run Reaper's Mark. But if you want the utility of interrupting people that you've killed at range before you go in for a fight, Venom Arrow is fantastic. And you get 300 weapon damage and you get a dot. And it's not a great dot, but at least it's a little bit of pressure. At least it's a little bit. And so it's going to come down to what you prefer. Do you want the utility of a ranged interrupt with less tankiness, but, a dot? Or do you want the tankiness of potentates with a little bit more burst damage up front with the chance for a lot more burst damage with a heal? And I can't tell you which one's better. It's going to come down to your own personal preferences, what you like. I talked to Grim Hollow about this actually on my channel. He watched my video, and he's like, yeah, I tried that. And I was like, well, what do you think? Would you rather run Venom Arrow or would you rather run Reaper's Mark? And he said, honestly, it's close. And he goes, I don't know. And he goes, I can't. I go back and forth. He's like, and it's going to depend. Some fights, when I have Reaper's Mark, I wish I had Venom Arrow. Some fights, when I have Venom Arrow, I wish I had Reaper's Mark. And so play with them both. I highly recommend trying them both out. But the thickness on the back bar, being able to run potentates with having the same damage plus a heal plus the potential for Berserk is what puts it over the edge for me. That's my personal preferences, but we're all different. We all play Nightblade differently. That's why I chose it. Shadowy Disguise. I don't use this defensively. As you guys can kind of tell, I'm kind of thick on my back bar. I have Undo, I have Potentates, I have I have Defending, I have Bloodspun, and then I also have, Relentless Focus procs that can also increase my damage mitigation. So I'm actually pretty tanky on my back bar. Shadowy Disguise is used offensively. Because my CP is lower, it's not 810 CP. I don't really have enough CP to min-max and use the Tactician passive, and so I can't set people off balance via dodge roll. So I have to use the Tactician passive via cloak to guarantee a critical strike. So I will cloak, and I will heavy attack, surprise attack from stealth to stun people and put them on the ground. And that's my stun. It's not optimized, obviously, but I mean, when you're lower CP, that's just the way it's got to be. And so that's how I use cloak currently. And so because I use cloak more offensively than defensively, I'm not running Shadow Image right now. Now, I know there are going to be some Nightblades that are going to go, oh my god, you're not running fucking Shadow Image, blah, blah, blah. I get it, guys. I get it. This is for my 630 CP Nightblade account. For my lower CP Nightblade account, I found Shadow Image to me is not as important as having a stun and the guaranteed crit from stealth in that burst, because I'm already tanky on my back bar. I don't need to kite around that much. I really don't. I have major evasion. I have minor protection. I have, like I said, spectral bow. I have potentates. I have all this tankiness built into my build already. I don't need to bounce around a whole lot. And so I can dodge roll, I can heal up, and then I can turn on somebody really quickly. And so yes, Shadow Image is fantastic. Yes, when I get to 810 CP and I have the Tactician passive, yes, I will be switching to Shadow Image. But if you're lower CP like me and you really need to utilize that Magicka so that you can have a stun, you can kill specific players, this is how I would set it up. I would put Leeching Strikes on, and I would put Shuffle on. Shuffle is a great skill. It's a great skill, So, and so is Leeching Strikes. Leeching Strikes is a great sustain skill. And so you need to min-max your sustain, your damage. And so if you're running a sustain skill like Leeching Strikes, that means you do more damage. And so I am not saying in any means that Shadow Image sucks, because it doesn't. I run Shadow Image. But for this specific build, with this much CP, I can't run it. I can't run it. This is the disadvantage of being a 630 CP Nightblade, is I don't have the Magicka sustain to pull it off. And that's why I will probably be going to Imperial once I, max up my character, so I get that 3% reduced cost. It does add up. It really does. And so that's how I have it running. But if you want to fit Shadow Image in here and you want to take off Leeching Strikes, that's fine. If you want to put on Shadow Image and take off Shuffle, that's fine too. All three of those skills are very good. That's just my opinion. As far as our CP tree goes, 56 Warlord, should be 1 in the Siphoner, sorry. 62 Mooncalf, the rest in the Tenacity, and I have 44 in the Tumbling. This is for 630 CP, 810 CP. I'll actually put write a comment in the comment section below of what my CP is at what it is at 810, for those of you guys that want to know. I have 15 in the Blessed. Honestly, you don't have to do that. You can take them all out. 72 Mastered Arms, 56 Mighty, 25 Piercing. I put the rest in the Precise Strikes. Precise Strikes, you don't really need dots. We're all burst damage. 51 Ironclad, 52 Resistant. Take the ones out of Medium Armor Focus, put them into Resistant. 61 Hardy, 32 LA Defender, 7 into Thick Skin. You want to stack more into here to eventually get the Unchained passive. We just don't have enough for it right now. We want our critical resistance higher. We want to be a little bit thicker. Unchained passive will be nice, but eventually, but right now we can't do that. None over here, and that is the CP more or less. Like I said, I will post my CP in the description below for 810, but that's how I kind of have it set up. So I went through the gear, I went through the CP, I went through all that. Alternatives. So New Moon Acolyte's super easy to get. I don't think there's any reason you can't get this. It's a 9-trait crafted set. You can get it crafted anything. It makes farming rather easy. If you guys do not have New Moon Acolyte, or you don't have access to New Moon Acolyte, like I said, you can buy Shieldbreaker. Shieldbreaker's fine. Spriggans is also fine. Both those sets are both going to be very good. Clever Alchemist is also a good set. I know Grim Hollow's running Clever Alchemist, and he really loves it because it maximizes his overall burst potential to kill very tanky individuals, and Clever Alchemist is good for that reason. My setup just gives me more flat damage all the time, and so it's up to you. Do you want that window where you can hit harder, or do you just want know that whenever you hit, you're hitting? And so that's how I have it. That's why I have it set up the way I have it set up. New Moon Acolyte boosts my healing. Titanborn's going to boost my healing when I drop to lower health. If I had Balorg, I would really be able to scale my weapon damage higher for people that I really need to, but Bloodspawn's just fine too. So that's how I have it set up. What else? I think that's it. I think that's it for this build. So I'm really enjoying it. I've played a lot of it in BGs. I played some open world with it. It's very effective. It plays very similarly to my other build. Like I said, I've had to make some adjustments for 635 CP, and I wanted to show those to you guys in this video. I wanted to show you what you have to do when you're a lower CP character, because sometimes, you know, for those of us that aren't at max level, you watch a build video and you see that they're at 810 and you're like, well, what do I do? How do I make these adjustments? What do I have to do in order to survive? And coming from a guy that is an 810 character on another platform, these are the adjustments that I had to make to be successful on a lower CP character. Now, I'm not saying that this is the only way to go about doing it. I'm just saying that when you watch a YouTube video and you watch a build video, look at it as like a guideline, you know, as an idea to improve a build. Like a lot of you guys, most of you players, do not play like I do. You know, you don't play Stamina Nightblade like I do. I guarantee you, you know, other Nightblades like El Lobo or Grim or, you know, other good Nightblades across all platforms, they'll see my build and they're just not going to enjoy it as much as I do. You know, I'll watch their build and it'll be the same way. You know, I just won't utilize their build the same way they utilize their build, because some of it is going to come down to preferences. And so hopefully I explained my preferences here pretty well. It leaves a lot of opportunity to min-max gear sets. You can change your monster set. You can change some skills in your back and front bar depending on your own personal preferences. You can change out different gear based off what ultimates you're running. Hopefully I explained all that very well, because, you know, builds are fluid. You know, sometimes just a little bit of, like a small change, like stun on in-cap, moves us from onslaught back to incapacitating strike. Then that moves us from shield breaker to a set like Titanborn, which is what I did in this video. So I will provide a link to this build in action for those of you guys that want to see it. I did do a lot of no CP BGs. I found it to be very effective. So if you guys have any questions or comments, please provide in the section below. I'll do my best to answer it. Thank you guys. Have a nice day.